Hello, and welcome to our lesson on communications and expectations. This segment will cover push and pull communication, a hybrid approach. Communication blockers. With so many channels, types, and different parties with which we communicate, the potential exists for breakdowns, also known as communication blockers. The genesis of communication is an idea. Generally, the goal of the communicator or sender is to choose from the channels available to them, encode a particular message, and send it through the selected channel. It then becomes their sincere hope that the receivers of that message properly understand or decode the original idea. Unfortunately, that channel or medium of communication may be fraught with danger. At the most basic level, technical issues could exist. Static, broken connections, and other physical glitches can interfere with the delivery or clarity of a message. These types of issues are the least destructive to the original idea the sender wished to communicate because they are generally easier to solve and more detectable as they occur. The real difficulty lies in the sender's ability to encode the message in a way that is readily decodable by the receiver, despite blockers. Examples of blockers: obvious communication blockers, language or cultural differences, interruptions by other parties, technical breakdowns, distractions to one or both parties, such as fatigue, less obvious communication blockers, negativity or hostility between the sender and the receiver, context known by one party but not the other, incorrect assumptions of shared understanding by both parties, a lack of active listening on the receiver's part. The effect of obvious communication blockers on project leadership. Communication blockers can significantly impede the effectiveness of project leadership, hindering the flow of information, collaboration, and ultimately project success. Obvious communication blockers are readily identifiable and often manifest visibly. Language or cultural differences can create barriers to understanding, leading to misinterpretations and misunderstandings among team members and stakeholders. Interruptions by other parties, such as unscheduled meetings or unrelated discussions, can disrupt the communication process and divert attention from critical project matters. Technical breakdowns, such as malfunctioning equipment or unreliable communication channels, can hamper the timely exchange of information. Additionally, distractions, such as fatigue or competing priorities, can reduce the focus and engagement of individuals involved in communication. The effect of less obvious communication blockers to project leadership. Less obvious communication blockers are subtler but equally detrimental to effective communication and project leadership. Negativity or hostility between the sender and the receiver can taint the tone and reception of messages, leading to defensiveness or resistance to ideas. Context known by one party but not the other can result in incomplete or misleading information being conveyed, leading to confusion or misalignment. Incorrect assumptions of shared understanding by both parties can lead to communication breakdowns, as each party may operate based on different interpretations of the same information. A lack of active listening on the receiver's part can inhibit comprehension and feedback, preventing meaningful dialogue and problem solving. These communication blockers can profoundly affect project leadership by impeding the ability of leaders to convey vision, foster collaboration, and drive alignment among team members and stakeholders. They can lead to delays in decision-making, errors in task execution, and breakdowns in team cohesion. Moreover, unresolved communication blockers can erode trust and confidence in leadership, undermining morale and motivation within the project team. Mitigating the effect of blockers in the communication process. To mitigate the impact of communication blockers, project leaders must proactively identify and address these barriers to effective communication. This may involve fostering a culture of open dialogue and respect, providing language or cultural training where necessary, implementing protocols to minimize interruptions, and ensuring that communication channels are reliable and accessible. Moreover, promoting active listening, clarifying expectations, and seeking feedback can help bridge gaps in understanding and promote constructive communication exchanges. Recognizing and addressing communication blockers is essential for project leaders to foster a collaborative and communicative environment that drives project performance and achieves project objectives. By overcoming these barriers, leaders can enhance clarity, alignment, and engagement among team members and stakeholders, ultimately contributing to the successful execution and completion of projects. Active listening. Most of that we discussed this week are directly applicable to the sender and the way they encode a message. But by actively listening, the receiver can also improve the communication process. Active listening is a structured and intentional process. After carefully listening and fully hearing what the sender is saying, the receiver takes responsibility for affirming their understanding of what was said by asking for clarification or further details needed. Interactive communication. This back and forth between sender and receiver is known as interactive communication. The defining feature of interactive communication is the ability for the sender and receiver to affect each other as communication is happening. This can be as simple as the sender watching for signs of confusion while speaking to the receiver. The ability of both parties to interact can be affected quite significantly by the channel or combination of channels chosen. Modern times have brought new paradigms of interactivity. While email is primarily one way at a time, newer, more instant messaging platforms can bring instant feedback or even allow for more direct interaction as needed. Consider, for example, how messaging through a smartphone often includes the easily selectable option to initiate voice or video communication if one party feels that it would enhance the conversation. Enhancing interactive communication in project leadership. Enhancing interactive communication in project leadership is crucial for fostering collaboration, understanding, and alignment among team members and stakeholders. The dynamic exchange between sender and receiver, characterized by the ability to influence each other in real time, lies at the heart of interactive communication. In modern times, the choice of communication channels plays a pivotal role in facilitating this interaction, with newer platforms offering increased immediacy and flexibility. Project leaders can enhance interactive communication by leveraging various strategies and tools to facilitate meaningful exchanges and promote engagement. This is the end of this segment of our lesson. In the next segment, we will continue discussing push and pull communication. This course is presented to you by South Europe College. Thank you for listening and see you on our next segment.